Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and patch 11.1 PTR is finally live for us to take an early preview regarding the next major content update of Season 2 for the War Within expansion. And with that, means we finally get access to all of these massive major class revamps for us to finally sink our teeth into. With classes like Paladins, Priests, Mages, and Shamans receiving a wide variety of in-depth adjustments. But out of all the classes out there, I think that the class of Hunter is getting definitely a lot of attention and a lot of time in the spotlight for this major content update, especially with specs like Marksmanship and hero specs like Pack Leader. So I want to take a close look at all of the new changes coming to the class of Hunters, at least in the early preview for the patch 11.1 and everything new that is available for this class so far. It is one of the longer videos so far, and there's going to be plenty of those for 11.1. But if you just want to skip around to the most relevant sections for you, I will have chapter marks down below for the different spec and talent tree changes. As always, if you guys want to see more regular updates for the patch 11.1 PTR and more in-depth discussions like these, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. Before we go on into the actual talents, just look at this Hunter set. It looks amazing. It's like this Shadowlands Eventier look, this vampiric thing with chain armor. It looks nothing like what I expect a Hunter to have, and a lot of players are actually excited about this set. Though, besides the actual set, there's so much more to be excited about when it comes to the spec of Hunter, as it's gotten so many new talents from the general trees, hero spec adjustments with massive reworks there, but also adjustments to beast mastery, survival, as well as marksmanship, which I'm going to cover, starting with the generalized changes first, and then heading into some of the other more spec-specific and hero spec-specific changes little by little. So first things first, the general talent tree, they didn't want to change too many of the useful talents, they just want to make some of the lesser used talents a little better in their situation. So it's slightly better, but maybe might not be enough in order to make you want to start playing these specs or these talents specifically. Things like Kindling Flare now has a longer or wider radius by 50%, which could be good in content like PvP specifically. Kind of good, but nothing super crazy. No Hard Feelings now also gives your Misdirection a slightly reduced cooldown. For specs like BM and Survival, there's also a pet interaction, but for MM, it's just a slightly shorter CD on Misdirect. The talent of Wilderness Medicine still buffs the pets for Survival and Beast Mastery, but now if you're Marksmanship who doesn't play with a pet, they had to rework the talent out a little. This one now just provides you a little bit more healing for Exhilaration or slightly faster cooldown reduction. Normally, as you spend 10 focus, you reduce the cooldown of Exil by 1 second, so now this is going to give you by 1.5 seconds for every 10 focus you spend. It still has a healing benefit for Survival and Beast Mastery for their pets, but they just want to make it a little better for Marksman. Also, Territorial Instincts no longer summons a pet, since Marksmanship no longer plays with a pet. For the other specs, it doesn't make a difference, but for Marksmanship, it's just a slight little adjustment there. However, they did make a change, which I think is going to be very controversial. So, not all the abilities in a Hunter spellbook are for combat purposes. Some are just for fun, just part of that class fantasy, for instance, right? So they actually kind of secluded some of that class fantasy a bit recently. Like the ability Eye of the Eagle, which allows a Hunter to have a vantage point, since Marksmanship, in a loose terms, plays around with this spotting eagle as a part of your gameplay, not necessarily a pet, but rather an eagle that amplifies your damage. In a way, I guess now they're the only ones that actually has the eagle sight to be able to see enemies from super far away. However, because they decided to make this super thematic, they've actually removed that ability from Survival and Beast Mastery. However, both Survival and Beast Mastery still retain the ability of Eyes of the Beast, which only they can use, but a Marksmanship Hunter cannot. Right now it's a little bugged because it doesn't function properly. They broke something about it, but only Survival and Beast Mastery can use Eyes of the Beast, but they lose Eagle Eye. While Marksmanship retains Eagle Eye, but loses Eyes of the Beast. I don't really know if that makes any of the specs really honestly better. It's just a change for thematic purposes, I guess. I think a lot of, if you play Hunter and you like all the little toys, all the little class utility things, this one just seems like super unnecessary, doesn't really benefit the spec gameplay wise, and it just takes away some of the unique aspects out of the class in general. And I actually think this could be one of those things that would be reverted in the near future. Then we got some hero spec adjustments, starting with the Dark Ranger, primarily the Withering Fire. While True Shot or Bestial Wrath is active for Marksman or Beast Mastery, instead of you automatically firing Black Arrow every time you proc a death blow, now it causes your Black Arrow to then fire, so you actually have to press the Black Arrow ability in order to fire additional bolts instead of it firing automatically. This means that Marksmanship no longer has this big RNG component of Dark Range in 11.1, where they could just keep proccing Death Blow, just get so many Black Arrows back to back, which kind of sucks in their damage, but it does give you more consistency because you're no longer playing the Casino Withering Fire damage build. And it's just mostly an adjustment for that consistency, but also removing some of that unique interaction for Marksmanship specifically. Sentinel is another hero spec that also saw a number of smaller changes, primarily to its capstone of Lunar Storm. Now, Lunar Storm procs every 30 seconds instead of 15 seconds, but they made it stronger, increasing its damage output by 25%, plus also give it the ability instant damage component, not just a damage over time component. So when you first use it, it'll deal instant damage to all enemies within a certain location. They increase its radius from an 8 yards, I think, to a 12 yards, and duration from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. So you use it every 30 seconds, and it lasts a little longer, it hits a little harder, instead of having to reapply it every 15 seconds. Also, they made it so that Lunar Storm will slowly follow your target. It doesn't move that quickly, but it will slowly travel with them as they move out of the way. So if you place it on like a central target in a group, in a dungeon situation particularly, it'll actually follow that group and follow that leader of the dungeon, or I guess a central enemy that it targets originally in the dungeon, make it a little bit more consistent and a lot more usable. It's actually a very nice addition for Sentinel. Though a majority of work went in for the Hunter hero specs is the complete or redesign of Pack Leader. Previously, Pack Leader would function off of you being able to basically empower your kill command as a survival or beast mastery. But now you actually summon additional pets whenever you use the kill command ability. With kill command, the main ability transforms now to Howl of the Pack Leader. So if you're a big fan of Rexar when it comes to WoW lore and WoW characters, you basically get to embody Rexar. When you, every 30 seconds, and you can adjust this ability with duration or cooldown a little bit with certain other talents, but as far as get into the basics, will howl the pack every 25 seconds. Your next kill command summons an aid of a beast, either a bear, a wyvern, or a boar. The bear leaps into the fray, rending all of your foes, putting a heavy bleed on up to 8 nearby targets. The wyvern ascends from the sky and then does a battle cry in order to give everybody, you and your pets, a 10% damage increase for 15 seconds, or the boar, which will periodically charge through your target and anybody else, and doing mostly physical damage to your primary target, but also some follow-up damage to all other enemies within that are at least at 8 target cap. So Howl of the Pack now has a lot more functionality whenever you summon your pets. The bear in particular is actually a bonus combat pet that will be available for a short time with the, you actually can see the buffs rotate with the Howl of the Pack Leader. So this is going to be the wyvern. It's supposed to swoop in from the sky, but I don't actually think... There it is. Yeah, you can actually see an actual wyvern flying above you whenever it grants you the buff. So the next one is going to be the bear. Bear actually becomes a proper combat companion. So as the bear deals damage, you'll actually see that the bear is a proper pet that gains benefits. Like, bear basically counts like a dire beast and can gain a lot of other components. With Beastmaster Hunter in particular, things such as Beastly, for example, could affect the bear. So the bear, I actually think, probably ends up being a bit of a better pet for Beast Mastery than Survival, just because Beast Master has a lot more of this tie-in with all of your pets and how it can empower them through a variety of content and through a variety of different talents. Survival does have some functionality of pets, but it's primarily all about bleed damage and Mongoose bites and instant strikes and all those things. So there is a little bit of discrepancy right now between how strong this hero spec is between one spec or the other, but I'll go over that in just a moment. Once I get the boar, which hopefully, there it is. So the boar isn't a pet, rather it will just charge, disappear, then charge again and disappear, and you can see it kind of trying to charge through, but when it hits a wall it does bug out a little bit. So that's more or less what the pack leader is. You now summon 1 of 3 different pets, and it's not a specific rotation of like bear into wyvern into boar. It's kind of randomized every time you call in your kill command which pet you get. It does give you an icon of which pet you're about to summon, which may let you adjust your rotation or your playstyle or certain procs to benefit some of these pets a little bit better, but for the most part it is a randomized base pet that you get. There's no specification for which one you're gonna get every single time. From there on though, we do have a number of talents that modify these pets, but also modify your interaction with this ability. Like for example, pack mentality. Howl of the Pack Leader increases the damage of your kill command, so whenever it is about to summon a pet, that kill command is gonna do far more damage. Summoning a beast also reduces the cooldown of either your barb shot for beast mastery or your wildfire bomb for survival, which means you're getting a lot of resources and a lot of damage rather quickly. With dire summons, kill command helps reduce the cooldown of Howl of the Pack Leader by a second. For beast mastery, it's Cobra Shot. For survival, it's Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike also help reduce the cooldown of Pack Leader by a second. So the more basic combat abilities you use, the faster you can get this ability to proc again to summon Bear, Wyvern, and Boar. With Better Together, Howl of the Pack Leader's cooldown is reduced from 30 seconds down to 25 seconds, and your pets gain 5% of your attack power, an extra 5%, which makes your pets just a little stronger passively and actively. From there, we also got other ways to modify these pets, modified the Bear, Wyvern, as well as the Boar. With the Bear, you got a choice either your sign Fury, where the Bear's periodic bleed damage has a chance to reduce the cooldown of your kill command by 1 second, or whenever the Bear initially strikes at the target, all serpent stings on up to 8 nearby targets can be consumed instantly, dealing 100% of its remaining damage. Kind of hard to actually plan this one out as Beast Mastery because there's only so many ways you can apply Serpent Sting. For survival, it's a little different, but also takes a little bit of time. It does make certain talents of like Cleave, Mongoose Bite, things that you used to be able to do a little better, although it's a little harder to do. There is some more synergy you can utilize in order to make this talent potentially better, but it doesn't really seem that strong right now. Over down the middle, we have Fury of the Wyvern. Your pet's attacks increase your Wyvern's damage bonus by 1% up to 10% additionally. So normally Wyvern provides a 10% damage bonus for Beast Mastery. I think it's actually 15% damage bonus for survival, so it's a little bit different number, but your pets can further empower the damage bonus, and as you use Kill Command ability, it can extend the duration of that Wyvern buff by 10 additional seconds. The Boar actually has a very interesting component for both Beast Mastery and survival. Each time for Beast Mastery, each time your Boar deals damage, the damage of your next Cobra Shot is increased by 25%, and Cobra strikes at one additional target up to 4 times. So Cobra shots can actually cleave multiple targets, which for Beast Mastery, there are some talents to play around with abilities like Cobra Shot, but you don't really play with them that often. So it'll be interesting to see if it's possible to potentially combine Cobra Shot and this cleave component as Beast Master at some point in the future. As a spec of survival, this mechanic is a little different with Hawkstrider. Summoning a Boar refreshes the duration of Mongoose Fury, so this talent will make you want to play with a Mongoose Bite ability, where instead of dealing instantaneous damage of Raptor Strike, it actually is a building damage that starts out a little lower than Raptor, but as you build up stacks up to 15% more damage per stack, that normally doesn't refresh. So it's something you have to build back up and build and build and build, and the Boar makes it a little bit easier for you to refresh those stacks once you build them to 5 and generate more stacks. Each time the Boar deals damage running through foes, you have a 25% chance to gain a stack of Mongoose Bite. And Mongoose Bite, as well as Raptor Strike, both strike one additional target per stack, stacks up to 4 times. Which means that you now have a little bit more cleave capability as a survival hunter. So you have certain abilities where you can combine together, like Raptor Strike, Mongoose Bite, apply Serpent Sting to targets, so you could put a dot on multiple targets. Then you get the Bear to consume that dot potentially. It could be a playstyle maybe in the future. I've played with this. It's a little bit of a weird talent because so much of your hunter kit right now is all about grenades and explosive shot, and as well as butchery, that it's hard to kind of find a way to link in a full, I guess a Raptor Strike is a little bit easier, but to build up a Mongoose Fury while also managing all of those big major AoE abilities, I found it a little bit more challenging than I have in the past. It's a weird mechanic that used to be part of a class talent trees, but they removed it for a reason. So it's interesting to see that they kind of added it back in through Hawkstrider as pack leader. It doesn't feel as intuitive, but maybe I need to find the right build that matches it super well. From there, we got some weird talents like No Mercy. Damage from a kill shot sends your pets into a rage, causing all active pets within 20 yards of your bear to pounce on the target and attack it. All this seems to do is just redirect aggro of all your pets onto a single target. I guess for Beastmaster, maybe your pets will be a little bit more likely to attack your current target, but this one doesn't actually seem to do any damage component, just, I guess, easier time managing your pets, which isn't that difficult. I'm not really sure what this challenge is supposed to be. Maybe it's not fully functional. Down the middle, we have shell cover. When you drop below 40% health, you get a 10% damage reduction for 6 seconds. A lot of you guys in the comments when we were streaming the 100 changes said this seems like a weak talent. I kind of tend to agree. If this was maybe like a 30-second cooldown, could see shell cover being pretty good. A defensive is nice, but on a 2-minute cooldown, doesn't really seem as strong defensively compared to like Sentinel shields, for example. Then you also have another choice node of either Slick Shoes. When disengage removes a movement impairment effect, its cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. That's pretty good. Then Horsehair Tether. When an enemy is stunned by Binding Shot, it is then dragged to the Binding Shot. So a bit of a, I guess, a knock effect towards the Binding Shot, which I really, really like. It's kind of like a grip. So I think that one's actually going to be potentially good in Mythic Plus. Your capstone ability is Lead from the Front. Casting Coordinator Assault or Bestial Wrath causes your kill command to summon a beast. So you can summon a beast through a regular proc from Howl of the Pack Leader, pop your cooldowns, kill command again, summon another beast. So you could have 2 beasts overlapping, and then once you summon this beast with Lead from the Front, it increases the damage dealt of your beast by 25% for 12 seconds. This is for both Beast Mastery, which isn't as pet heavy, as well as Beast Mastery, or this one works for both Survival and Beast Mastery. Survival, which isn't as pet heavy, your pet still gets amped up. For Beast Mastery, you are pet heavy, and all of your pets get amped up. But after playing a little bit with Pack Leader, I actually think this one is a much better design, at least so far, from my testing for Beast Mastery. It's a fun and a hero spec, and I like the changes they've done on paper. I think some of the synergies and combos could be really good. I just found it a little bit maybe too unwieldy on Survival, but it feels like it's a perfect fit for Beast Mastery specifically. And if anything, I could see either this one getting a few adjustments to be a lot better for Survival, or potentially Survival going through even more class talent changes and spec talent changes in order to better facilitate and allow Pack Leader to possibly shine in the future. But all the pets for Beast Mastery felt really good. The bear in particular felt very strong for BM, as well as all the others. The bear did not feel nearly as strong in terms of damage contribution for Survival because you're not a pet heavy class. You have a pet, but you mostly use pet for the additional buffs for your Chip with the Spear. So it didn't really feel as impactful. And I'm almost afraid that Survival could potentially even stay Sentinel going forward. I am hoping they adjust Pack Leader, maybe do a bit of tuning. But right now, I like the fantasy, but gameplay-wise, it just... Maybe I needed the right build for it, but it just didn't quite feel as intuitive as I hoped it would. From there, we got a number of spec talent tree changes, starting with a spec like Beast Mastery, which has gained a few new talents. Things like Dire Cleave. When you summon a Dire Beast, all of them gain Beast Cleave for at 100% effectiveness for 8 seconds, which allows your pets to have a little bit more cleavability. Talents like Poison Barbs. Direct damage from Barb Shot has a 30% chance to explode on impact, dealing additional nature damage to nearby targets, damage reduced beyond 8 targets. Then you also have a new one here with Animal Companion, which is a talent that allows you to have 2 pets instead of 1. They wanted to give you an alternative playstyle with Solitary Companion, where instead of having 2 pets, you get 1, but that pet gains 35% more damage and becomes 10% larger. This one, they said in a blue post, not necessarily meant to be a combat improvement talent, but rather an alternative playstyle if a hunter doesn't want to play with 2 pets, they just want to play with 1. They said the damage difference should be marginally lower than double the pets. But I think because of that, if there's an actual damage difference between solitary and double pets, I think a lot of people will still say double pets, even if it offers you just the smallest bit of a damage gain. Outside of this, Beast Mastery kit has been changed up quite a bit. Your damage of your Serpent Sting has got buffed up by 50%, Barrage has gotten improved with 100% more damage and a focus cost reduction from 60 to 40 to hopefully make this ability a little bit better. Now with a 20-second cooldown, 40 focus, and quite a bit of additional damage, it also does grant Beast Cleave to all of your pets, so I wonder if Barrage will actually get a bit of play. Talents such as Dire Command has had its chance to proc reduced from 30% down to 20%. Though Dire Beast visual and summoning pets visuals have changed quite a bit. So when you now summon a brand new Dire Beast, you'll actually see it will leap out from the side onto your target. And if I can proc, there we go. I think I procced a Haughty in there. Oh no, I just procced on the Dire Beast. Yeah, I procced an extra one. I'm trying to see if I could possibly proc Haughty or Fenrir after 3 casts of Dire Beast. So I need to just summon enough pets in order to be able to get it. There we go. All those pets now leap into combat, a lot more animated, looks a lot better, and apparently they gave the wolf a little bit better visuals. I'm not sure if that's true. It looks about the same, but they said apparently new visuals have been added for some of these pets, but I'm not 100%. Maybe they're a little higher quality, but I haven't been able to notice really anything specifically. For the spec of survival, they want to try to find a way to simplify the rotation without deleting some of their damage. So your playstyle is going to be made a little bit less complex, not more complex. But one of the things they wanted to do is put Butchery on the same talent tree as Flank and Strike. So you can't have both, you can only choose one for single target, one for AoE. They also changed some of the talents like Merciless Blows as well as Frenzy Strikes, how both of them work. Merciless Blows, I've actually gotten nerfed by quite a bit for Butchery, not giving you as much bleed as it used to, but it still allows Butcher to bleed up to 5 enemies for additional bleed damage. For your Flank and Strike, that damage is further amplified because it only strikes a single target, but it gives you a fairly hefty bleed that ticks down on an enemy over 8 seconds. Over in the Frenzy Strikes, Butchery will still help reduce the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb by 3 seconds for each target hit up to 5 maximum, or with Flank Strike, it'll increase its damage by 15%, and Flank Strike now increases your attack speed by 25% for 12 seconds. So again, more single target or AoE components for a choice between single target or AoE. Outside of this, they've also adjusted the talents for survival a little bit. Primarily, there's now a new talent instead of where Flank Strike used to be called Call the Herd. Killshot increases the damage enemies receive from you and your pet's bleed effects by 25% for 6 seconds. It does a very short time debuff. Technically, it works off of bleeds such as Merciless Blow, Bloodseeker, or any pet bleeds, but I don't really know of any except for maybe Spearhead. But I guess if you play like a bleed heavy build or a killshot heavy build, that can be kind of good in that regard. You could further upgrade that talent with Born to Kill. Your chance to gain Death Blow is increased by 5%, so you can get more kill commands, or kill shots rather. And the duration of Call the Herd is increased by 2 seconds. Call the Herd now additionally increases the damage taken from your kill shot by 25%. So if you chain back-to-back kill shots, that could be good in that regard. Maybe could make a big cleave kill command or kill shot type of a playstyle where you cleave in multiple targets, but I tried this. I don't really know. I couldn't really find a good spot. Maybe it'll be better in single target, but for Mythic Plus, I had a really hard time really trying to find a good spot to use that ability specifically. But besides that, for the most part, at least for now, that's going to be mostly what we have for Survival Hunter. And finally, we have the big one, the spec of Marksmanship, which loses access to pets, partially. You do get one pet that watches over you, but not really. The pet is an eagle, a spotter eagle that watches over your character at all times and helps spot enemy targets. And it has a lot more interactions with your marksmanship spec. Like for example, since you no longer have pets, you still have this eagle that flies over and watches you. So you can use abilities like Intimidation, where the eagle will come down, stun the target, and will gain all the other benefits of stun effects as well. And even it has a unique set of animations for some of its utility abilities, so you still don't have a pet, but if you ever need a stun, that eagle will swoop up from above, stun the enemy, and then fly off afterwards. Another benefit Marksmanship now has is access to beast-like or pet-like utility, like a Bloodlust, Harrier's Cry. Your eagle descends from the sky, granted everybody a Bloodlust, and it even has a unique animation for it too. With the eagle popping up for a second and give it everybody in your group a lust. It is really cool, but it allows Marksmanship, if anything, gameplay-wise, to bring a Bloodlust. You no longer have to bust out a pet, press lust, then you lose your lone wolf playstyle. You just don't have a pet to begin with, but the eagle is always there watching over you at all times and comes to your aid at a moment's notice. The rest of the kit of Marksmanship is going to be designed heavily around the eagle-based gameplay, but also their talent tree went through a lot of changes where there's a little bit of this auto attack component to it, a lot of focus on buffing aim shot through a variety of different talents, and a lot more interplay between aim shot and other effects, but also a lot of the talents that can further empower your eagle through a variety of ways. So go through the talents. We have obvious things like aim shot, rapid fire, a choice between trick shot, which is the same as before, or to give aspect of the Hydra, which allows aim shot, rapid fire, and arcade shot to now hit a secondary target for 40% of their damage done. Your precise shot is similar but a little different. This is how you'll be able to enable your eagle. And your eyes in the sky buff is what allows those precise shots to call in the eagle. Whenever you consume a precise shot, there's a 30% chance to have your spotting eagle rapidly descend from the sky to mark your target to make your next aim shot deal additional damage to that target. So now you want to use those procs pretty regularly to fish for more eyes in the sky spotter's mark buffs as a marksmanship hunter, which changes the rotation a little bit. You no longer spam aim shots as much anymore, and I'll talk about that gameplay in terms of how it feels to play marksmanship now a little later, but it does change your rotation in a fairly drastic ways. Then we have the talent of Streamline, which a lot of abilities are going to proc it, and Streamline has been changed a little bit. With Streamline, Rapid Fire's damage is increased by a bit. Rapid Fire, as well as a variety of other talents, also proc Streamline. With Streamline, your next aim shot has its focus cost and cast time reduced by 20%, and this effect stacks up to 2 times to make the resource spending with aim shots a lot easier to play around with. From there, we have a variety of familiar talents like Lock and Load, which plays heavily off of precise shots, which gotten changed. Your auto shot damage is now increased by 100%, but the time between your auto shots is increased by 2 seconds. So your auto attacks from Marksmanship, there's actually a lot of talents that play around those talents, specifically in order to make Lock and Load a bit more of a core ability as part of your base gameplay. From there, we have talents like In the Rhythm, which gotten changed. When Rapid Fire finishes its channel, the time between your auto shots is reduced by a second to hopefully give you more auto shots and potentially even more procs of Lock and Load. Another talent that plays with auto shot is a choice node between another talent and Obsidian Arrowhead, where the damage of auto shot is increased further by 25% and its critical strike chance is increased by 15. You can actually combine this together with Dark Ranger for oblique arrows, which deals shadow damage fully bypassing an enemy's armor, which actually offers quite a significant bit of auto attack damage. And there's even a Marksmanship tier set in Season 2 that plays around this auto attack damage and auto attack speed as well, which also heavily leans into the Lock and Load playstyle. And I imagine with so many auto attack buffs, maybe the stat of haste, which increases your auto attack speed, might be better here. It's hard to tell exactly, but it definitely started to feel like haste feels like a much better stat. Aside of this though, we got a variety of talents that further empower the bird, either with Tenacious or with Cunning. Normally the bird comes with a bloodlust effect, but you can further modify it to have additional components like granting you more health and damage reduction, or Cunning, which gives you pathfinding for movement speed and Master's Call for a route break. So if you need more utility in a raid or a dungeon, you can easily pick it up on Marksmanship. And it seems like they want you to grab it in order to pick up True Shot, which also has gotten changed quite a bit. This talent now increases your critical strike chance and critical strike damage by 10% for 15 seconds, while reducing the cooldown of aim shot and rapid fire by 60%. It no longer messes around with the focus cost of any of those abilities, or specifically aim shot, but the focus cost of aim shot has been reduced by quite a bit thanks to talents like Streamline. From there, Moving Target, where consuming precise shots increases the damage of your next aim shot by 20%, grants you to Streamline, so it's another way for you to be able to overlap additional damage for your aim shot. Explosive Shot ability actually has a lot of components too. Explosive Shot also grants you Streamline, and when aim shot damages an enemy afflicted by Explosive Shot, that Explosive Shot instantly explodes, dealing more damage. So now there's a bit of a synergy where you want to start an aim shot, shoot Explosive Shot, because Explosive Shot right now travels faster than aim shot in order to be able to proc it instantly. So now there's a bit of a change of how you would use some of these abilities. Further going on with Explosive Shot, consuming precise shots reduces the cooldown of Explosive Shot. Consuming Lock and Load reduces the cooldown of Explosive Shot by 8 seconds, so using abilities can actually let you use Explosive Shot more aggressively. Explosive Shot can also damage an enemy, making them more susceptible to Arcane Shot and Multi-Shot. And further down into Small Game Hunter, you can further increase the damage of Multi-Shot by 75% and Explosive Shot by 15%. So there's a lot of AoE components here already with a bit of this cleave capability. To go through some of the more bird talents, Feathered Frenzy, where True Shot sends your Spotting Eagle into a frenzy, instead of applying Spotter's Mark to your target. During True Shot, your chance to apply Spotter's Mark is increased by 50%, so your bird is more likely to apply Spotter's Mark, further increasing the damage of your aim shot. The bird can also further increase the damage bonus of your aim shot by 10%, and even cause the ability to have additionally a chance for critical strike chances, but also have the Spotter Eagle Mark applied to additional targets, a small chance, 25% chance, to apply to multiple enemies. Further down below, we have a talent called Densa Bowstring. While True Shot is active, consuming precise shots extends the duration of the ability by up to 5 seconds. Additionally, True Shot now increases the effectiveness of Streamline, so you can use more aim shots regularly. And I know I'm a little bit all over the talents right now. I'm kind of just bouncing from one to another, but I do also want to show off that Double Tap is back. It's not the same Double Tap as it was before, but it now works off of True Shot, which either grants you Double Tap, causing the next aim shot to fire a second shot at 100% power and effectiveness, so potentially 2 aim shots for a ton of damage, or next rapid fire fires 100% additional shots during its entire channel. So this ability is pretty fun and very strong to play with. However, aim shot also has other talents that can further modify it, like Bullet Storm. Damage from rapid fire increases the damage of aim shot by 2% for 15 seconds, stacking up to potentially maximum 20 times. Usually it's about 10 on a single target. But if rapid fire cleaves, then it also stacks up additional stacks. So this is a better of an AoE talent than a single target talent. With Bulletstorm, new stacks of rapid fire do not refresh it. You'll just simply restart stacks. So once you get yourself a big rapid fire to buff up your aim shot, you want to keep that buff for as long as possible. With the talent of Incendiary Ammunition, Bulletstorm also increases your critical strike damage by 2%. Additional Bulletstorm now can stack up to 5 more times, so if you play into a crit heavy playstyle with aim shots, that could give you quite a lot of damage. We have talents like Volley, which is the same with Killzone and Salvo, so that's nothing really new there. Bullet Hell, where damage from multi-shot and volley reduces the cooldown of rapid fire, and damage from aim shot helps reduce the cooldown of volley by 25 seconds, so a little bit more cleave and AoE talents there as well. And based on my time spent with Marksmanship Hunter so far on the PTR, I don't think I found the perfect build that I'm very happy with. I've just been experimenting with a variety of different builds while diving into the newest Mythic Plus dungeon, available for testing in 11.1 PTR, but the spec itself feels like it's changed its design a little. The previous design, which is what you can experience right now on live, is focused on getting as many aim shots as possible, almost treating aim shots as your #1 priority and #1 resource. You're trying to make sure you're never sitting on 2 charges of aim shot ever, so you're trying to fire them as often as you can, in some cases cannibalizing on a variety of different procs and effects just to make sure that aim shots come first. This time around, it feels like you are managing your resources of focus, but you're not prioritizing aim shot above everything. Because now you have a lot of different procs and abilities that can further empower the quality of your aim shot. So you're not trying to get as many of them as possible, you're trying to create the deadliest aim shots instead, and are rewarded for it. When you have all these different lineups with this Eagle Mark, and then maybe Bulletstorm talent with rapid fire to further empower it, and then you get a big aim shot that cleaves multiple targets that does a ton of critical strikes and worth of damage, that felt a lot better. Another change I noticed is with so much focus on auto attack damage, it feels like haste as a stat is potentially encouraged on a Marksmanship Hunter going forward. Normally, at least on live, a Marksmanship usually stacks crit and mastery, firing off as many aim shots as possible, but the low haste that I took from live onto PTR felt so sluggish. It felt like my abilities took forever to get out there, and it feels like a higher haste playstyle is probably going to be a lot more rewarding. Maybe there's a talent build that helps alleviate a lot of this, and that's something I will discover over my next few weeks over in the PTR, but at the very least it feels like it does feel more haste inclined, and it feels much better to play with higher haste, especially during Bloodlust. It felt amazing. But outside of that, the actual basic gameplay loop and being able to set up for big aim shots, I actually found that to be very fun and pretty engaging. I do wish right now that there was more ways for you to guarantee the mark from your eagle, because right now there's some talents that can allow you a higher chance to mark foes, or potentially whenever it marks a single foe, it marks all the other foes as well. But I wish there was more guaranteed ways to mark enemies so I could set up a big burst, because the eagle specifically feels like a big component of the marksmanship type of gameplay, and I wish I could somehow control that proc rate of that eagle mark a lot more regularly. But by no means is this current version of Marksmanship on PTR the final product. They're definitely going to be listening to a lot of class feedback and community feedback from the hunters in order to get the spec right and hopefully make adjustments. And from there, I do want to pass it up to you guys in the comments down below. If you could change anything about this new iteration of Marksmanship Hunter, anything you don't like, and what would it be? Or if there's someone you do like about this and maybe you like the direction of marksmanship, also let me know all of those thoughts in the comments down below specifically. But for now, that's going to be our marksmanship and I guess hunter preview for the patch 11.1. As always though, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys did enjoy this update. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like. I would very much appreciate it. Also, join our Discord community where we'll be posting even more stuff and more discussions regarding patch 11.1 and all the different class revamps on there. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in our next one.